Hey there folks, I am the Mighty Plantain and we are taking a look at some Leinenkugel Shandies today. This is actually following up on a couple of viewer suggestions that I got. I believe I'm supposed to look at the regular summer Shandy. That's coming at some point, but I happen to find this Shandy Sampler. It's actually labeled as being from July of last year, so I got it at a discount. But the assortment that comes up this year may not be the same. We've got the orange shandy, the pomegranate shandy, the lemon berry shandy, and the grapefruit shandy. And I think I'm going to go in that order with the tasting because in terms of the intensity of the citrus, I think that's probably the right way to go. Pomegranate tends to be a little bit bitter, but I think the citrus from the lemon and the grapefruit will actually overwhelm that bitterness from the pomegranate. So, of course we'll be cleansing with water in between each sampling, but I think that's the way to do them to avoid overwhelming the palate with one and interfering with the flavor of the next. So, shandies. The lemon berry and the orange are only available in this pack, at least at the time of its release. That may have changed. Let's go ahead and get started with the orange. Really wish Leinenkugels would put out a collaborative beer with Heineken. They could call it the Leiny Heine. Yes, I know. Lame joke, but think about it. The Leiny Heine. Natural orange flavor. Okay, just a little bit of information about the brewery on the can, not much about the beer itself. It's quite hazy. Actually looks like it's got a nice tint of orange to it. I got a decent head put on there. It doesn't seem to be very effervescent, and I think that's just cloudiness. It doesn't look like there's a lot of particulates floating around in there. I think it's just a cloudy beer. I mean, of course, any cloudiness is caused by particulates, but there's no large flecks that I can see floating around or any chunks or anything like that. It's very orange. It's got a nice strong orange aroma. It almost smells like a glass of orange juice. That's nice. I'm really liking the smell of it. Just orange, overwhelmingly orange. Up front, it's just a nice, light, crisp, and refreshing beer. Not really any particular characteristics of the beer coming forward. It's just kind of beer. I want to say it's got a light grain profile. It's probably like a wheat or something like that. And again, there's nothing about it on the can, so that's... I can't confirm or deny unless I actually look that up, but it's a very nice, light, crisp, and refreshing beer with a very orange-forward flavor. I've had some other shandies that taste more like a fruit juice, but some of those are actually a 50-50 combination of fruit juice and beer. This doesn't indicate that that it's loaded with fruit juice. But whatever they've done to incorporate the orange in there, probably peel in the brewing or some flesh or some pulp, or maybe even actually some actual orange juice in there. It gives it a very good orange flavor, but it's still distinctly a beer. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to hit this one with a 3.5 out of 5. And again, on a scale of 1 to 5. A 2.5 is average, so a 3.5 puts it at a pretty above average rating. It's a nice solid beer. It'd be great in warm environments on a hot summer day especially. It's just not quite blowing me away with anything in particular that's making me say wow or impressing me past an above average rating. But definitely a very solid beer. So I'm going to finish this one up, and hopefully the rest are just as good. Alright, so next up is the Pomegranate Shandy. It's a Weiss beer brewed with honey with natural flavors. So this is going to be a Weiss. Interesting. I should have taken a closer look at the orange, but I didn't notice seeing a style on there. It might have told me if I was right about it being a wheat-based beer. Actually. Let's take a quick peek. Crap. Go back and edit from before the sneeze. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so managed to get a decent head on that one. I seem to have better luck out of the cans than anything else. This one's also cloudy, but it is overall lighter in color. Much lighter. Not very effervescent, though. Still not a whole lot of bubbles coming up out of that. Ooh. Again, like the orange, it's got a heavy pomegranate smell. Not really anything else coming through. That weird, sweet yet bitter pomegranate smell. And to be honest, up until a few years ago, I had no idea what the hell pomegranate was. And then they started putting pomegranate in everything that you could put fruit in. And some things that you shouldn't. They were all over the place. And they still seem to be, but there's less of a big deal being made about them now. I think pumpkin spice and salted caramel are the two popular things now. They're putting that in everything. Those in everything. Very tart, fading quickly to a bitter taste, but still sweet. Definitely highly pomegranate. And then just this underlying beer. Again, no specific characteristics of the beer coming through. It does say it's a Weiss, but I'm just getting like a beer, the impression of a beer. Maybe a little hint of extra bitterness in the finish from the beer as opposed to just getting like the bitterness of the pomegranate. But it's not like a hoppy bitterness, it's like a beer bitterness. And again, nothing really crazy, nothing really standing out, just this really heavily fruited beer. And the beers have been light enough that they're not interfering with that fruit flavor, it's actually complementing. So, I don't know, it's like a nice bowl of cereal with fruit in it in the morning, in liquid form. Come to think of it, I think I've heard this referred to as the Fruity Pebbles beer. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Kanan. I think that was you. But, yeah, just a nice, solid, fruity beer. Nothing really crazy about it. I'm going to hit this with a solid 3.5 out of 5 as well. It's not bad. It's not going to take me long to finish it off. And then we'll move on to the lemon berry. Alright, so next up is the lemon berry shandy. Lemon berry. 2 separate words, not one. I was going to say, I've never heard of a lemon berry, so I don't know what the hell they are. But there's another Weiss beer brewed with honey, with blackberry juice and natural flavors. So it's another Weiss style. It makes me wonder if the orange might not have been a Weiss as well. They just didn't necessarily say it on the label. Ooh, that's an interesting color. They did say they used blackberry juice on the label. And based on the color of the beer, I would definitely believe that it's juice. Look at that. That is an interesting color. It's like a dark the dark color, the purplish color that you get from blackberries, because let's be honest, they're not 100% black. They're not midnight black. They're more of a really dark purple, combined with the yellowish Weiss beer, has given it a really interesting color. It is mildly effervescent. I am seeing some bubbles come up, but just like the others, it's hazy, it's cloudy. I am getting the tart sweetness of the blackberry, followed by the citrus, the lemon. It could be an interesting combo. I mean, just like the other two, it's nice, crisp, light, refreshing. It's got this nice light mouth, medium light mouth feel. It's not light, it's just got a little bit of body to it. So a nice medium light mouth feel. Yeah, really tart blackberry up front. The lemon is coming through just a little bit in the finish, but I'm also getting that slightly bitter, not hoppy bitter, but just beer bitter flavor in the finish as well from the Weiss style. So it's interesting. It's not as fruit forward as the others. The blackberry is more subtle, and the lemon is very subtle. I think I'm putting this one at a 3 out of 5, just because it's a nice, crisp, light, refreshing beer, but without the fruit coming forward as much as the others. It's really muted. It kind of loses anything that makes it more special, and it's a slightly above average beer, just for the fact that it's easy to drink and very refreshing. But yeah, if the fruit was more forward, if there was as much of the fruit flavor as there is aroma, I think this would be back on a 3.5 like the others. But yeah, it's losing some points for the flavor just not 100% being there. But nonetheless, it's going to be easy enough to finish it up. And we will do the fourth and final, the grapefruit. Alright, and we are finally up to the fourth and final beer here. This is the Grapefruit Shandy, also a Weiss, brewed with honey, with natural grapefruit flavor. So, 3 of them have been Weisses. I believe all 3 said they were brewed with honey. The Orange Shandy is the only one that doesn't say it's a Weiss style brewed with honey. And they all say they rely on natural grapefruit flavor. And with the exception of the lemon berry, they don't talk about actually having any fruit juice in them. So I don't know if they've used fruit juice in these others or if they've relied on some other way to get that natural fruit flavor. But, again, that takes research. I have to go on the website, look up their stuff. And I don't tend to do that because I think it biases me, because I expect to have a certain taste when I check them out. But that's also another pale, very hazy, very cloudy beer, slightly effervescent. I think it's actually hazier than the others, or maybe it's just because it's a lighter color than the others. So very, very light yellow. And that might make it appear more hazy because the lighter color is doing nothing to occlude the cloudiness. Anyway. Ooh, that is very grapefruity. Lots of grapefruit aroma coming off of that. I think this might actually have the strongest aroma of all 4 in terms of the fruity aroma. Again, nice medium light mouthfeel. Up front, it's just a slightly bitter beer, but then it fades to a very strong citrusy grapefruit flavor. Yeah, definitely. And again, it's along the same lines as the others. It's just a beer that's fruited, and that's what makes it stand out. It's not too crazy, not too wild. It's medium light mouthfeel, so it's light, crisp, and refreshing. Easy to drink. This one's another solid 3.5 out of 5. So we've got three pretty much above average beers, and the fourth one is a little bit above average. That lemon berry, it just didn't have enough of the fruity flavor to make it stand out for me. But overall, four solid beers, three of them with a really great fruit complement to it. Ooh, pardon. One with a slightly lower fruit, slightly less obvious fruit complement. But definitely a solid pack, something that's going to be perfect for a hot summer day. And absolutely something that you can bring around, and your friends who aren't really into craft beer will probably be into this. Because it is light, fruity, and again, it's closer to the. I don't want to say the dirty word Budweiser here, but it is closer to your American beers, your basic American beer flavored beers with a fruity complement to them. That I think you could easily use this to introduce people to a different type of beer if they're used to just drinking those Bud Lights, Miller Lights, and Coors Lights around the picnic table. And this would be a good way to let them know that there's other beers out there. Anyway, that's just what I have to say about these four. Make sure to hit me up down in the comments at the email link down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree. While you're down there, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to do that. You gotta bump those subscriber numbers up. Shooting for 1,000 right now. So, until next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.